Ừ.
Hello everyone, we will start the conference again in 1 minute, so please come back to your seat and settle down. Okay, hello everyone.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Okay, so well, I cannot hear anything, but maybe I can start. Okay, so my name is Gangdu. I'm from China. Right now I'm based in Shanghai. First of all, I want to say a big thanks to my friend Kimiko for inviting me here. Actually, I was planning to visit Vietnam last year or this year, but unfortunately because pandemic, I couldn't make it. And so I'm super happy to speak here and to share some of my views about the innovation in China. By the way, I just heard from Kimiko the last session. I heard lots of innovation in Vietnam and also happening in the tech space, and you're super excited. So I think same here in China. We have many things, all the innovation in almost every corner of every sector of industry here. So I think we only have like 10 minutes, so probably I can just share a little bit, what excited me in past 1 2 years. So just a quick introduction of myself. I'm I'm being Actually, my background is I did my PhD in computer science, so I'm really geek inside me. But in past almost like 10 years, I started my personal blog, which is Techno. But now Techno is more like a media platform in China. So I got lots of opportunity to talk to many kind of high, the KOL in the industry in China in the global market. Like the CEO, the founder of Tencent, and the founder of Alibaba Cloud. So through them, I learned lots of like innovation. So it's a long journey to me. To build the techno from the personal blog to to a media platform. So right now we're doing kind of many things. We have media, we run events, of course, and we also do corporate innovation service. We are serving many corporates in China, also outside China, like BMW, Unilever, CP Group, all over the world. I think the most important move for our sector last year is we started our what we call Take It Global, which right now is based in Singapore. Is more like a subsidiary of Techno, but we focus instead of on China, we also focus on Pan Asia, especially Southeast Asia, and so that's why through Tech Global, we had many chance opportunities to talk to local ecosystems across Asia, across Southeast Asia, as well. So is for innovation in China, is really booming in China. Although many things happen and change. We like 5 years ago we said, when we talk about China, the innovation in China, we always use the word copy to China model. I'm sure you are familiar with. So basically, we copy almost everything from Silicon Valley to China. But what happened in past 5 years, I think is another way around. Instead of saying copy to China, I think there are more and more people talking about copy from China, even copy from China to Silicon Valley. So here is just a touch a little bit on the hardware side. Everybody know Apple smart the Apple Watch, and but in China you probably know Xiaomi, and probably you know this company as well. It's called Huami. It's a company invested early by Xiaomi as well. It went to IPO I think 3 or 4 years ago. But basically, this is one or number two in the smart wearing devices in China. And also, if you look at this, probably you can recognize it's Huawei, but it's like an ecosystem. But Huawei is not about the phone. If you look at the small picture on the right top corner, you see, the strategy Huawei is playing in the market is not just about phone. Actually, it's either phone, a circle around the IoT. So if you look at the Huawei products, you are not only looking at phone, you are looking at smartwatch, you're looking at the earphone, you look at the PC, you are looking at the screen, the tablet, then even speaker, and even glasses and smart glasses. So you can see the Huawei is building kind of IoT ecosystem around the phone in the hardware side. And of course, I'm not quite sure if you have bike sharing and this type of kind of service in Vietnam, but in China, I think they all started from China. What we call bike sharing is amazing. It's like this, like 3 years ago. But now, of course, the markets can come down because there's too many competitors, and we waste lots of money and also waste lots of resources, and to kind of build up this type of business from the ground, from zero. But still, like I think bike sharing is quite interesting model, even it's controversial. And I heard the chemical talking about like EV industry in Vietnam, but here in China, it's not about Tesla, right? Tesla is selling or have a great sale in China, but if you look at the landscape in China, there are three top guys, manufacturers, EV manufacturers in China, and I think they're all startups. They are all like 4 or 5 years old, but they all went to IPO this year or last year. So, and the Xiaopeng and Li auto car and Neo auto cars. So that's our top three EV car manufacturing in China. But actually, there are many more. It's more like we have a tier one. So these three represent the tier one of the EV company, but we have tier two and even tier three EV companies. But plus, we have even have Baidu and this internet giant in China, but they're not working on the car, but they're instead working on the like auto driving ecosystem, the auto driving technologies, and they're working with all the traditional or new car manufacturing. And talking about transportations, you are probably familiar with this type of kind of transportation tools. And you probably heard the company called Segway, actually from Silicon Valley, if I'm right. But what I think probably you don't know is what happened in past probably 4 or 5 years ago, or even more. Like Segway is acquired by a Chinese company called Lineboard. So Lineboard went to IPO, I believe early this year. So this is from China. And you probably heard of SpaceX, for this type of commercial kind of rocket. But in China, actually, you can find probably 4 or 5 kind of startups working on this field. And this is just one example. This company called Lenspace, actually they launched their own kind of commercial rocket, and that they're still testing more. And talk about phone, everyone know, of course, the iPhone is the lead in the global market. But if you look at some sector or some specifications of the phone business right now, and for example, I think this is not new phone from Xiaomi, but actually this is maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and Xiaomi released that. It's probably the first full screen phone in the market, but it's not. If you look at the iPhone, it's still not really full screen, but Xiaomi did that 4 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, and these two companies are probably familiar with as well, and Oppo, Vivo. I think I have to say maybe 5 years ago or 4 years ago, if you look at these two companies, people think it's just copycats, copy of Samsung, copy of iPhones. But if you look at if you are look at what they are at now, there are lots of emulations on their mobile phone, and I think the technology behind the phone is superb, and also some specifications. I think that even is more advanced than the iPhone. And these are two. I think the left one, it's kind of, I think the photo from last year. It's called blockchain phone. It's by HTC. I don't know what stage now, but it's a phone, kind of with the blockchain technologies. And the right hand side, this call is called is a flexible screen phone. You probably know Huawei has that, and Samsung has that. But this phone is done by our startup based in Shenzhen. Actually, it's the first one, and the first flexible phone on the market, even before Samsung and Huawei. So it's done by, I think, 5 or 6 years old startups based in Shenzhen. And this one is also from Shenzhen, and probably you know that. I've said that OnePlus is a high-end Android phone. I think it's the number one in India, number one in some European country as well. I think they're doing well in Southeast Asia as well. But this one is very special case, because if you look at the top three, or if the top three phone manufacturer in China is always like Huawei or Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, and iPhone and Apple. But I think our OnePlus is not like the top five in China, but outside China, they done great job. Very good phone. And this one, I think, is also number one in the market. They even beat what's it called? What's the sports the panel 360 degree and cameras or GoPro. I think they beat GoPro in sales. It's also Shenzhen-based startups. It's called Insert 360. So if you look at all these hardware kind of companies, the big one or small ones, they are all doing great job, not just in China, also in the global market. And this talking about drone as well. I think this one, everybody know DJI, and in based in Shenzhen, and also we have several other drone and company as well in China, like the one on the left top bottom corner called Yihang. They are working on their own drone, but which can accommodate one person. And the right one is called horror camera. It's really tiny and drones, but you can fly indoor. And also with camera, they have the face recognition technology. I think it's the girls really like it, because for girls they like take selfie. So basically you can buy that, then you can fly indoor, then it can follow you wherever you go, and then take selfies. Is more convenient in some way than your phone. And this one is also quite interesting. Is a drone, started is drone business, but it's the company called XAG. But they're working. But the drone is really focused on the agriculture and business, and also agriculture and technologies. So you can use the drone, to do the crop spraying, and to monitor the farms. Also, they are building our smart agriculture and technologies around the drone. And so lastly, I want to say, we talk about lots of high advanced and technologies, for the innovation. But innovation could be simple as well. Even look at the hardware side. But if you look at this, it's it's probably you are familiar with that already, but it's a very traditional, really standard, power extension. But when this one come to the market, is so handy, because it comes with 3 USB port, and with that you don't need to bring your cable anymore, and you don't need to carry the adapter anymore, but basically just plugging the cables. It's quite handy. Also, it's cheap as well. So it's not really like a high-tech stuff, but still it's innovation and make your life easier. And talking about innovation, I think in China, the many Chinese companies that are very good at is to monetize or commercialize innovations. And even I think that even done a better job than the company from States. I think this is the photo I took a while back. Is a startup presentation. So this one you can see is working on the parking service. But what you can see is almost like 10 years or 20 or 13 years ago, when you park your car, you need like the physical car, the plastic car. and to pay. But right now, if you are in China, you don't need a card anymore. Basically, you can scan the code, you can pay with Alipay or WeChat payment. But what's the future for the car parking business? It's not just about the parking, but also it's more like a scenario. It's like when you drive your car into the shopping mall, on your screen, the car screen, you can see the only special discount in the market and in that shopping mall. And also it can tell you where to buy the stuff. Is everything is even the car parking business will be kind of powered by the AI. And also we talk about the phone, the hardware, and this is called power bank sharing. So you can share the power bank anywhere. So it's easier. You don't need to worry about the rental battery anymore. So lastly, sorry, it's my daughter. Sorry. So the lastly is my first line to present this. So we know CES in Las Vegas, but what we are working on now is we want to build something, a new platform next year we call Beyond. So it's more like CES, but we want to focus on the global market, of course, but we want to bring all the technology, all the innovation together from the Asia all together and bring them to Macau. So I think we're going to, why it called Beyond, we want to focus on like beyond the tradition. So basically, we're not just looking at the products, we're looking at how technology changed the business. We're not just looking at the technology itself, we want to focus on how the technology changed the people's life, the sustainability and the social impact. And more important is we want to kind of tear down the boundary of the Asian innovations. We want to bring all the Asian innovation all together. And so probably like every year you can go to Las Vegas for CES, but hopefully every year you can come to Macau, for Beyond as well. So we want to bring impact tech, healthcare, smart mobility, smart city, entertainment, and also future tech together. So that's all from me today. So here's my Twitter handle, and also you can have my WeChat if you use WeChat as well. And feel free to drop me emails. I'm looking forward to meet you in person in the future. Thank you.
Take note of his contact. And coming up next, I would like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Dietmar Swank, the commercial counselor of Advantage Asia. So Advantage Asia is actually also one of our strategic partner. And just
Yeah, hello. I'm not sure if you can hear me now because it's interrupted, but just let me know if I can start. Okay, so thank you very much, Kimiko and everyone for inviting me and giving me the possibility also to be here and share a couple of views. It's been very interesting already what we heard before, I believe, and it fits very well also to my presentation. So I run Advantage Austria Vietnam, which is Austria's official trade promotion and internationalization agency. We work for bilateral trade and innovation cooperation, also investment cooperation with Vietnam. And I'm based in Ho Chi Minh City, which is why I can't be in Hanoi right now. So let me start giving you some industrial perspective on the deep tech and the frontier technology topic. Austria is, as you may know or not, a leader in high technologies. We are a machinery producing country, very well advanced in engineering skills, and have been doing so for a long time. So Industry 4.0 means quite a lot to us as an industrial country, which is why I think Kimiko has also asked me to speak here. So I'll give you just a short overview on how we perceive Industry 4.0 from our European perspective, but also I try to give a few comments on Vietnam in here. So basically, I'm gonna speak about where we are when we talk about Industry 4.0, but also what is Industry 4.0, and then I give you some case study as an example. So what is the status quo when we talk about Industry 4.0? If you see this graph on the left side here, I've taken it from the World Economic Forum Readiness of the Future Production report. It's a report which analyzes how well prepared are countries today to shape the environment in the industrial environment and benefit from the ever-changing nature of production in the future. And readiness means the ability to capitalize on the future production opportunities, to mitigate risks and challenges, and to be resilient and agile also to future shocks like the coronavirus pandemic, for example. Now, this report has analyzed numerous countries throughout the world and categorized them into so-called leading countries and other types of countries, as you can see in the graph. And I tried to point out where Austria is and where Vietnam is. And it's quite interesting, I think, because Austria is among the leading countries in Industry 4.0. So we believe we are quite well prepared also to embark upon Industry 4.0 and everything that's connected to it. And Vietnam is a nascent country together with many other countries. And it's also quite interesting because while the industrial base may be weaker than in other countries here, there are still many drivers for production which make Vietnam a perspective and an interesting country when we look at Industry 4.0. So drivers of production that are important here, for example, includes the institutional framework and the willingness of the country actually to achieve and be industrialized and attract investment, for example, but also the manpower in this country and a few other factors. Vietnam does really excel also in global trade and investment environment with all the FTAs that it has been negotiating and also entering so far. So this is quite interesting, I believe. And as you can see, there's also a limited number only of so-called leading countries. It also means that while not every country can be a leading country, probably, and is not necessary to be a leading country, there's a lot of room for improvement for every country. And the so-called nascent countries like Vietnam, they have to determine whether to pursue advanced manufacturing or traditional manufacturing, where they're really good at, or any combination of the two and to what extent. So this will be really, really important also for policymakers. Now, why do we do Industry 4.0? Why do we pursue it as a goal at all from a macro perspective? Well, the reason is that we see that those countries which invest in digitalization in the industry will be more competitive and have competitive advantages, but also more productive on the other side. So this is clearly reflecting also what David said previously. At the end of the story and at the end of the day, it's about remaining competitive and making money, of course. So that's why Industry 4.0 is pursued. But what is Industry 4.0? And you can look at it from many different perspectives. One perspective that's interesting also for Vietnam is that Industry 4.0 is about the digitization of the complete supply chain. Supply chain and global value chains is a big, big topic here in Vietnam, as you know, and Industry 4.0 helps making these supply chains more efficient and helps economies grow in that regard. Now, it's also very important, I believe, to distinguish between smart products and smart production. We've seen a couple of smart products just before in the presentation, and there are numerous companies that can make smart products. But the question that you have to ask when you talk about Industry 4.0 is, do they have smart production? Because many companies do have good products, but outdated production lines, and you have to keep both in mind when you talk about Industry 4.0. I give you an example. There is, for example, Magna, an Austrian automotive supplier, one of the biggest suppliers in that sector, and engineering companies in the automotive sector worldwide. They also help VinFast build their cars. And back in 2008, Magna actually designed and produced the first car which was completely created virtually, and even the crash tests were done virtually, so there was no need for any physical prototype for this car. And this was quite good development and also a new business model. So Industry 4.0 is really about connecting the real and the virtual world, but it's also about developing new business models around products and around product-related services. I come to this back later. And then there's other aspects as well with Industry 4.0. It's of course also about workpieces and machines which operate autonomously and be more flexible, more efficient, and also more resource efficient. That's what it's all about. But also customer needs can be, in some cases, taken up real time. And this is really interesting if you think that a product doesn't need to be standardized when it's in the production line, but during the production process can be adapted. The process can be adapted to fit individual needs of a customer to that certain product. For example, I give you a very simple example. When you think about golf bats, when you play golf, you may want to have your individualized golf bat, and you could easily do this and individualize this in the production process, and even real time in the process. And then another aspect of it is, of course, maintenance. Maintenance is regulated autonomously in an Industry 4.0 environment, and predictive maintenance is one of the hottest topics currently in the industrial sector in Europe, for example. Now, what do we need for the virtualization of the industry? You need sensor systems, you need software engineering, you need physical systems that are existing already, and all this together combined is what we call the cyber physical systems. But that's not the end of the story, because you also need work systems, which are assisting systems for the workers to enable them for the new production process. And you need, or you can have, new business models out of that, which is a major motivation actually of doing Industry 4.0. And then finally, there is also domain know-how. So many workers, for example, have broad know-how, but it's difficult to structure that know-how and to get it to the point. And this is actually a real key challenge also when pursuing Industry 4.0. And there are several layers of motivation why we pursue this. One, of course, is to reduce costs and improve the efficiency of the factory. And this is also where workers will be laid off. But it's not the end of the story, because there's other motivations as well. Companies which pursue that goal can come up with new products, and they can come up with new data-driven business models as well, which helps them access or increase their market and the market shares. And in these areas, you can actually employ new people and new qualified people. Now, when we talk about Industry 4.0, you should also know about the limits of that. That is very clearly visible, for example, in Austria and in all of Europe. Many companies believe, for example, that operational technology in many cases does not have any security whatsoever. They say IT is a black hole, which can be true sometimes. Some also fear that high investment costs and an unclear return of investment will be involved. But this is clearly not true, because in reality, the return of investment, as David has pointed out already, also in other deep tech sectors, can be very quick, in a matter of weeks, in fact, or in a matter of months. So I give you an example. When you think about adding a certain sensor to a machine, to a robot, to make it more efficient, you will see the results very, very quickly. And you can multiply this by adding similar sensors to other robots or to other production lines that you have. So we have seen in certain studies in Europe that the return on investment is actually very, very quick. And this is what it's all about. Of course, you have to have qualified personnel. Sometimes the staff is afraid of changes. This can be a limitation sometimes. And many companies also fear that they, put their money into maybe the wrong technology, because there are many unclear development paths when it comes to technology. So it's not clear, for example, which technology will prevail in the medium or long run over the other. When we talk, for example, about additive manufacturing, it's at the moment not so clear which of those technologies will be the one that really will dominate in the future. So you have to make an investment first, and there's of course certain risks involved when you make these investments. Also, there's also still unclear standards, and some companies are hesitant to use the cloud. You have to overcome these barriers, which mainly exist for small and medium-sized companies, but you have to overcome this in order to be successful and really pursue a relevant strategy in Industry 4.0. So this is basically what I want to say about Industry 4.0, and then finally I'd like to present a little bit about some Austrian strengths in that sector, and add a few keywords there. I talked already about additive manufacturing, but of course Industry 4.0 is also about artificial intelligence, machine learning, using big data and analyze that. It's about automation and robotics, which has been there also before we talked about Industry 4.0 already. There is the creation of digital twins and simulations to the processes, connectivity improvements by different technologies. Sensor technology will be applied, image recognition, AR, VR, and plant engineering, and some security technologies. So basically everything that you can think about when you talk about deep technologies or new technologies will be integrated also in industrial processes, in production processes, and this is basically what it is about Industry 4.0. Austria is very strong in that. All of these sectors, we're doing a lot of research. Our companies have very high engineering skills. We're very happy to share that also with Vietnam. And we believe there are great opportunities also for the Vietnamese companies to upgrade and to play a certain role in Industry 4.0 in the medium and long term in the future. So this is basically it. And finally, I'm not sure if it works out, but I've asked the organizer then to show a video on one case study of an Austrian company. The company is called Litos, and this company is a developer of high-performance ceramics. So they found out that ceramics, if made properly, have very, very interesting characteristics, more interesting and better in some cases than metal or steel even. And you can use that ceramics materials in many, many different applications. Now this company Litos is doing material development and additive manufacturing for ceramics in order to create this. Such products, for example, if you think about individualized ceramics products that you may use when we talk about hospitals, we did that already. We can use, for example, ceramics as replacement parts within your body instead of screws, instead of other parts when you have an accident, for example. And this company is producing such kind of ceramics. So I'd like to ask Janelle or the organizers maybe to show the video, if you could do that, please. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for your sharing, Mr. Dietmar. Due to the technical issue, I think we will send the link of the Litos video to the audience later for them to watch the YouTube. So thank you so much for your sharing, and it's a wow. Like I didn't even know that all of these strengths, like Austrian, like got it all. So please let us know how we can contact you, if we can share your contact to the audience today. Yeah. So this is like
my contact is here, and you can share, of course. You can share the presentation, and please also the video. It's very impressive what this company does, but it's only one example, and we'll be here, of course, for any Vietnamese company who has an interest in connecting to Austria. And thanks so much for the opportunity again.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dietmar.
You're welcome.
Yes. Once again, we will have like two remaining session sharing. First of all, from AKGN FPT, and the second one will be Hyperlab from Singapore. And then we have the panel discussion. So as a token of appreciation to all the attendees today during the conference, at the end, after the panel discussion, when you check out, you can receive like the vouchers from VinFast e-motorbike, e-scooter. So it's like 50% off. So it's 20 million down for like depending on the motorbike model that you are planning to get. And this one is transferable. So you can get one and maybe like give to your loved one or your friends. So thank you so much for staying with us. And upcoming next, I would like to introduce Mr. Bùi Đình Giáp, the founder and the current director of Akkabot.
Yeah, thank Kimiko. I'm very happy to be here today in a very traditional way of life. As you, Kimiko and David mentioned before, AI and automation is one of the hot technology, let's say frontier technology. And today I will share about like an overview and how in Vietnam. First of all, I think many of you know about the robot, right? So actually nowadays we have another kind of robot. It's not physical. It's you can see here. And I have information I want to share to you. This year, up to now, our revenue for the RPA is double compared to last year. I think one of the reasons is COVID. As David shared before, some area will have the good impact due to the COVID. And you can see here, big picture about the RPA market. Around 40% growth rate every year up to 2027, and could be around 25 billion US dollar. And RPA now is the top one, actually the top one, combined with the AI. And banking finance is the most active area compared to another. Um, Let me share a little bit about the history and the future of the RPA. Before, we have some like macro, some bot in playing game, kind of very basically robot. But now we have the RPA. We can create very easy without code. We can manage 100,000 of the bot at the same time. And nowadays, we have the AI. I think AI now could be the, let's say, infrastructure technology for all of another technology. So our RPA also the same. We combine with the AI to process like unstructured data. I will share later. And the next one, RPA could be the like let's say true cognitive. This mean it can make the decision like a human, not only the processing the data, but also the making the decision. And here's the reason. You know, our data double, I think, almost every 2 years. And most of data is unstructured. It mean image, text, free text, video, and just around 10 to 15% is structured data. So that's the reason we need AI. And our vision for the RPA and AI could be the future of the digital workforce. Now we combine with our partner in Japan. They are the like a traditional labor company, and now they work with us and to provide the digital workforce. And 100 of the robot already provide to the customer. And you can see RPA should just do the like routine and rule-based tasks like copy the data, download, and check the email. But we need the AI to process in 3 areas. The first one is boundary data. You know, input could be the video, could be the image, need to convert to the structured data. The second AI could have the RPA is the optimizing. Let's say you have 100 of the bot. You need to scheduling, smart scheduling, and you need to find out which process should be applied to RPA. We use the process mining. And finally, AI can have the RPA is a intelligent workflow engine. You know, bot is not stupid, but almost stupid. If the application change, bot will die, right? Immediately die. So the next generation, I think the engine, workflow engine, can be automatically learn and adapt the change of the application. So those are the 3 areas that AI can have RPA. And in Vietnam, we have one. It's a Akkabot. And now we are the global platform, but make in Vietnam. We are now in the Gartner list, and we are also in some forum, and we are top 30 in Japan. And we do hope that in 2020 and 21, we will be in the forum of the Gartner. And behind, we have the FPT-AI. You know, FPT-AI, we are the #1 now in Vietnam. Our chatbot can talk with the customer in the south of Vietnam, in the middle, and also in the north. It's a very important. Here is our customer. We have now more than 35 customers, and you can see almost the same as I shared the previously slide. Almost they come from the banking and finance, because of banking and finance is a huge transaction, and almost same day by day. So it's a very potential to apply the automation. I want to share about one customer story. Actually, this one we apply for one of the biggest bank over the world for initial the loan contract. So every day they process around 400 loan contract, and you know the profiles are very different, kind of hard copy, and we use the scan, automatically scan, and then we use the OCR, and human just verify only. After that, bot will do rest of the thing. Even go to the CIC for check the credit scoring, and go to the core banking to get the information. Go to the loss, it's a loan origination system to initiate the contract. And in some bank, we can have the customer saving $100,000 per year. And now in Vietnam, some bank they already had hundred of bots. It's so like surprising. I have you know, we are the FPT. We have branch customer over the world, and not only in Vietnam. And we apply RPA for hundred of the customer. And we have a story success. Want to share 3 key factors. The first, you know, for the RPA, sometimes it's not the technology, it's how to apply, how to implement. So select an implementation vendor is much more important than platform, because of, you know, there are some platform. And the second should be top down, and I will show why on the factor number 3 is the RPA awareness. You know, some people here, you may worry about your job because of the bot, right? When the bot come, what will you do? So that's the reason you need the top down and you need the awareness. And actually, when we work with our customer, normally not only implement the RPA, but we also work with them how to train them to be the bot creator, become the bot creator, become the bot operator, and also can be shift them to another area, much more like a high added value. And you know, if you are the person who are facing this one, you are lucky, because of, you know, who will pay the first will be get the high advantage, right? Rather than last one, because, you know, the time to work for you is count down. So if you can pay this one first, you get the high advantage. And finally, don't worry. As an ex CEO of the IBM said, I totally agree. A human or machine only will be not the best, but a human combined with a machine will be the best. Thank you. And sorry, I didn't put my contact here, but I think Kimiko will help me to. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for your sharing. It seems that you are afraid that you know, it's very interesting and people will stop you. So, but anyway, I will share your contact with the audience. So thank you so much for the sharing. And upcoming next, we will have Miss Yuan Yi from Singapore, and she's the co-founder of Hyperlab, a leading media platform for AR and VR.
All right, thank you very much. It's great to be here, guys. I'm going to share my screen. Great. Are you able to see my screen? Cool. So my name is Yuan Yi. I'm from Hyperlab, a emerging technology company that focuses on the areas of immersive technology, 5G, data analytics, system integration, cloud computing, etc. Our headquarters is in Singapore, and we have branches, offices in different countries, including Vietnam. So today I'm going to talk about immersive technology and our digital twin future. You might have heard about terms such as AR, VR, MR before, but really what are they, right? Well, it turns out that immersive technology or extended reality, short form XR, are actually the umbrella terms for a spectrum of digital realities that we know. So on one hand of the spectrum, you have virtual reality that allows users to teleport themselves to a different environment. And on the other side of the spectrum, you have augmented reality that allows laymen to see additional information on top of your physical reality. And right now, we also have mixed reality that is typically based on this kind of mixed reality devices. So once the users put on these kind of devices, they are able to practice some of those like hands-free mixed reality experiences, large-scale augmented reality experiences that is mapped according to your physical environment. So I hope that gives everybody a very quick understanding of immersive technology. If you're not familiar with these technologies, you might think that they are actually a very new technologies. Well, but actually they're not. Back in the 1950s, the US Army has already been using VR for military training. And in 2014, Facebook acquired this VR hardware company called Oculus. So that actually marks the beginning, the start of the current wave of XR adoption. And today you have big guys such as Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Apple, just name a few of them. They are investing heavily to develop mixed reality devices, hoping to create the next generation of computing devices, which will replace our tablets and smartphones or laptops in the future. So we are here, our company was founded in 2014, and we are one of the earliest players during this trend of XR adoption as well. And according to Statistica, the global market size for immersive technology this year is 18.8 billion US dollars. The growth in the market is real. Based on our experiences in the past 7 years, it's very heartening to see that a lot of people are thinking of ways to adopt to immersive technology and think of ways to use this for different aspects of their business operations. So this is just a tip of the iceberg of the people that we have worked with. And a lot of those use cases are really innovative. And a lot of times the ideas actually comes from the users themselves. So I think it's a very encouraging kind of trend we're seeing in the market right now. No, but for some people, they might be thinking that XR is something like something that is good to have. Does it really solve some kind of like pain points that people face nowadays? Well, I will share with you two trends, two premises that we are talking about right now to highlight to you that immersive technologies are actually beyond just something that is good to have, right? So the first trigger, that is the Industry 4.0, the world is going digital. We have IoT that is able to generate big data. 5G is coming up in a lot of countries, so data can be transmitted at high speed and low latency. We have cloud computing that is able to handle and process the huge amount of data. AI and machine learning can help generate patterns and insights based on the big data. And APIs and open standards allow us to do system integration, and eventually we can do collective intelligence from them. So as all of those fancy things are happening at the back end, how do we make sure that human beings are still relevant in this whole infrastructure, right? We need to find a way that allows human beings to be able to interact with the information, interact with the data, interact with the insights, and collaborate with each other with all of those technological insights. So to us, immersive technology is actually the answer. It is going to be a bridge between human, the users, to the backend structure that we're all going to have. And the second trend is COVID. Well, this is something that we are all very familiar with. COVID has hit the world really badly. Until today, we are not able to travel. And I really have no idea what's the next time I'm able to visit Vietnam. This year in May, WHO actually also announced that they think COVID might not go away. And recently I've read a report from Harvard University, a study which they have done. They run a simulation and you arrived at a pretty much similar conclusion that in the next couple of years, we may still be facing COVID. So now a lot of organizations then have this burning issue: how to enable efficient remote collaborations, how to run engaging online sessions, events. So there's a lot of issues has pushed immersive technology adoption to the front end, to the front line that everybody now needs to pay attention to. Now with these two premises that I've mentioned just now, what trends then are we observing? I'll be sharing with you three trends that we have been discussing internally within the team, based on our 7 years of sweat and blood and tears. So hopefully some of those ideas will be able to spark more conversation among everyone here. Trend number one is that we're seeing XR becoming increasingly affordable and accessible. Companies like ourselves are able to provide tools that allows laymen to create their own interactive AR and VR experiences without having to know any coding language. And also hardware advancement is being pushed by some of those big consumer electronic companies. So a lot of hardwares we have nowadays are able to support high-end AR and VR experiences. So here, just a sneak peek of some of those tools we have on our central platform. Right, so right now, all the laymen have the tools. We are all at the frontier of shaping the future with media technology. What legacy do we choose to leave with our future generations? What can we do? What do we choose to do right now? Right? And here are some answers from our communities. Corporates start to create virtual tours to engage the customers remotely. So right now, even if they are separated by COVID, in different countries, they are able to visit virtually some of those offices and facilities. Schools around the world are adopting virtual reality. They used to run learning journeys to bring students overseas to study overseas culture. But nowadays, they are able to bring the world to the classroom for the students to learn their global perspectives. Enterprises, organizations start to pick up remote MR collaboration tools to enhance their communication collaboration experiences to improve efficiency. And some companies even adopt AR 3D experiences to do product launch. So I have a drone over here. Some of them use AR to conduct training experiences, or VR to use these kind of 3D technical drawings and conduct training experiences. Or some event organizers are even thinking of using digital human in their events, like this. So this is the founder of Hyperlab. He's not physically here, but I'm able to bring him over. Right. So as you can see, it is pretty easy to take the first step nowadays and create your own AR and VR experiences. And actually right now, I am using RealityCast to do a augmented reality broadcasting using just a smartphone that is currently hosted on my table. But I would like to ask ourselves to stretch our mind a little bit further to think about the concept that immersive technology is actually not just about AR, VR, and MR. We need to look at it at a much bigger picture. Over here, I have the report from Gartner. So this is called the hype cycle for emerging technologies. Gartner actually provide this kind of report on an annual basis. This is the report from 2019, right? So just to give everyone a little bit of background of the hype cycle for emerging technologies. As you can see, there's this curve over here. So what this chart says is that for every single new technology, you will go through this particular path. When it first comes out, everybody's going to be super excited about it. So that's the moment where the technology will go up the slope. Everybody talk about it, try to use it. But at one point of time, it's going to hit the peak. That is the moment where people will realize, hey, this technology isn't that mature yet. Some of those concepts you have in mind, well, we probably need to wait for another couple of years for it to become mature. So normally there's going to be this downslope that is where the disillusionment happens. But if a piece of technology is able to But if a piece of technology is able to survive this particular path, then it is going to reach the end of that slope, where that is where the mass adoption comes into the play. So both VR and MR have actually both survived this particular path already. VR disappeared from this path in 2017, and AR disappeared from this path in 2018. In 2019, we saw this particular technology at the bottom of the curve that is called an immersive workspace, right? And this year, actually, we talked to Gartner. It seems that there's a general consensus that the whole technology, we're looking at the combination of different kind of technologies and looking into providing AR, VR, and MR with other technologies to create a holistic value for our users. So this is the chart in 2020, when we are looking to, if you can see, there's this technology at the tip, which is called social distancing technology. It's some kind of hype that's generated within the COVID social distancing period of time. And this is the moment where we're going to continuously explore how to best combine different kind of technologies and create holistic value for our end users. So this then brings me to the second trend I'd like to introduce to everyone. That is, immersive technology is now being integrated into the bigger IT infrastructure and ecosystem. Here is a list of emerging technologies that is widely acknowledged in the world. If you think about combining them all together, there are actually a lot of things we can do, and digital twin is one of them. Imagine you have a 3D model of your facility. For example, I have a ship over here. You can actually pull in data, whether it's real-time data or historical data. If you have real-time data, you can actually enable multiple users to look at these digital twin together from different places, and you can make decisions together based on the real-time status. You can do real-time inspections of your facilities as well, regardless of where you are. And if you have historical data, you can even use that to run simulations and do proper resources planning based on the insights that is able to generate based on the data and patterns. So over here, some of those examples are actually from our collaborations with governments around the world to create smart city digital twin experiences. And we can even look at something that is at a bigger scale. Imagine we're not just looking at a small 3D model. We're now looking at something that is based in your physical environment. Let's say you have a factory, you have a museum. You can look into having this kind of spatial computing where you have immersive experiences all around you in the physical space. And this is actually a very interesting idea to think about, because in the past, we are all like 3D creators, but with this, we are able to create the fourth dimension of experiences that enhances people's visiting experiences to different places, or the on-site working experiences at different kind of facilities, such as warehouses or factories. So it is really the time where we can reshape human interactions and redefine space and time. So very, very exciting notion, right? And that then brings us to the third trend, which we'd like to mention to everyone. With every single technological shift, there is normally a mindset shift as well. In the past, system integration and those kind of work seems to be a zero-sum game. If a system integrator gets a job, that means someone else has lost a particular project. But things have changed. We have heard a lot of things from our SI partners that nowadays we are no longer just looking at competition. Actually, we need to shift our mindset from competition to collaboration. Because if now we are able to connect different kind of systems and intelligence together, we're able to generate more insights and provide more value for our end users. COVID is a good example where government agencies try to link up the systems together to track, let's say, your movement and try to ensure that if anyone is identified to have COVID, we can, as soon as possible, identify those people who are affected, right? So it's a time where we're looking to more of the collaborations. It's not about what a team can do, what a company can do. We're moving into a future where we're looking to what our ecosystem can do, what kind of ecosystem we have, within our team and within beyond our team as well. So with that, then we can look into a connected future where we have connected things, connected systems, connected intelligence, and eventually we'll have a connected world. But if there's just one key takeaway we're gonna have from this sharing session, I want us to forget about everything that we have mentioned earlier. Forget about the two premises, forget about the three trends we're talking about, but just remember one thing. Technology will always evolve. Whatever we have talked about today, it may become obsolete very quickly in the next couple of months or years down the road. But we can't always be the one to chase the changes, to follow the changes. Our abilities to be able to adapt to the changes and think innovatively and critically about anything, technology, its social impact, political, economic impact, will eventually be our guiding light. And that kind of mindset is the one that is the anchor, which will help us to sustain in the long run. And I'd like to end today's sharing session with a picture. So this is a picture of my mom she took in her 20s, an elegant young lady standing in front of a very nice scenery. And over here, we have another picture. It's went wrong. Nope. Just give me a moment. Okay, you're not able to see it right now, but we have another picture of me using an Instagram filter. And if you think about Instagram filters we have nowadays, we are pretty much all look very funny with all those emojis and stuff coming out from our mouth and have things covering our faces. But eventually, if you think about it, 20 years, 30 years down the road, everybody's grandparents is gonna look that way, right? So let's just stay open-minded, stay adventurous, and stay collaborative, and we are able to embrace the future together. So we have our representative today at booth 33, Xing Xing over here. If you'd like to talk to her about some of those collaboration opportunities, please feel free to go ahead. And we look forward to connecting with everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your sharing, Ms. Yuan Yi. And also my honor to introduce Ms. Sin Sin Phuc is the representative. May you stand up so that people will know, and like it's very interesting to see the moment like the coronavirus like starting to move on the screen and say, wow, this is like the showcase right there on the screen. So Ms. Sin Sin Phuc is the representative of Hyperlab in Vietnam, and please talk to her. And we also have the exhibition booth in the Frontier Tech Village later. So now it comes to the most look after part is the panel discussion. So may I invite the team to bring the chair over here, and we will have like the two speakers online and also two speakers offline to share. Okay, so may we invite, oh, we have the two online speakers. So okay, so now we introduce, this is Miss Michelle Nguyen. She is the senior associate at Quest Ventures, and Quest Ventures has been working very closely for Vietnam market in the last 2 and 3 years, and lately they have also launched co-launched the Vietnam Growth Initiative, and like Michelle will share more about the initiative, and then we have Miss Trang from B Capital, the principal at B Capital Group, and they are planning to initiate more investment in Vietnam starting this year. So these are the two representatives from two VCs who are really interested in the potential of Vietnam. And invite here offline on the stage, may we invite Mr. Tâm Nguyễn, the head of digital for OCB Bank in Vietnam, and Dr. Duy Đăng Phạm, the senior program manager for software engineering and IT at RMIT University Vietnam. So the team, can you please change to the slide where we have on the image of the speaker? Okay. Yeah, and may we also see Miss Michelle and Miss Trang. All right. So thank you so much for attending today, and I think like it's quite like a quick flight between like global and Southeast Asia and Vietnam. So let's start first by asking our friend from Singapore. So is the technical part ready? Okay, so may we start first, like each of the speaker, they will take 2 minutes to share with us after the sharing today, what is the most prominent or impressive frontier technologies that they have witnessed and they really impressive about. And you can also share your organization's viewpoint of current initiatives toward frontier technologies. So may we start first by Dr. Duy Đăng Phạm.
All right, so thank you, Kimiko. Can I look at the question again? So what is the most prominent, impressive frontier technology that I have witnessed today, and how do I feel about that? So basically, I think that all of the technologies that we have discussing today, they are all very impressive, ranging from AI, AR, VR, digital twin, and so on. So all of those technologies are also very impressive. And in terms of what we, as RMIT Vietnam and also as a School of Science and Technology where I'm working in, what we are doing at the moment is that, university, we have two primary functions. The first one is offer education, and the second function is to do research. So in terms of education, we are very excited this year that we are launching the Bachelor of IT, Information Technology, first time in Hanoi. And we also introduced 5 new specializations that focus on AI, cloud computing, web and mobile development, and so on. And in terms of research, we also collaborate very closely with key technology companies in Vietnam and also globally. For example, we collaborated with the Hospital for Tropical Diseases in Saigon. We developed a deep learning application to recognize doctors' handwriting. We also collaborate with MPT software before, so I know that. Yep. And we also collaborate with banks, for example, ACB. And so those are the activities that we have been doing. And actually, we have 2 research clusters in our school. One focus on artificial intelligence and machine learning, and the other cluster focus on smart cities.
Right. Hello, everyone. So basically, I came here to learn, and I think I got so much knowledge. I mean, like, of course, reading all these stuff, Googling about frontier tech, IoT, AR, VR, all those stuff. But I think hearing directly from professionals and sharing the real life use cases is really, a lot of learning I will take away, and definitely will try to apply in my business, which is banks. And it makes me realize that banks is actually slower in adopting a lot of these stuff, and it's so new. But anyway, I'm just trying to say that there's some small use case that we are actually trying to implement. Simple use case, for example, in our PA, Mr. From FPT is presented, and also we did some use case on chatbot, right? And one technology that adopted widely in other industry, but banks is started to do is blockchain-based remittance. So we also doing a use case with RippleNet. So we joined the RippleNet to do blockchain cross-border transfer. So that is one interesting use case. And that's all. I think there's many things that definitely I like to take away, but one particular very interesting is learning. I would definitely chat with Yuan Z from Hyperlab after today on how to do presentation online with animation and graphics like that. Is so effective and so awesome. I like to learn how to do that, and definitely we make online presentation more fun and real instead of just showing the faces, the voice. I think it will attract the audience much better. So thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you. So I think like the additional add-on values for the today is like for Akkabot, you have a new client, and maybe 1 year in Hyperlab is a new client. So may we have like the connection with our colleagues in Quest Ventures and B Capital,
Sure.
Michelle
Hi,
and yeah. Okay. Yeah.
hi, Kimiko. Hi, everyone, and panelists. Great thanks to Kimiko and her amazing team for putting together this Vietnam Frontier Tech Summit at Techfest 2020. I'm Michelle from Quest Ventures. So I think maybe I could just do a quick introduction before I deep dive into what are some of the prominent frontier technologies that we've seen. So for Quest Ventures ourselves, we are a leading venture fund in Southeast Asia and emerging Asia. We invest in startups in the digital economy space for the seed and Series A round. So far this year, we have invested in a number of companies in the logistics, legal tech, cloud kitchen, in-home entertainment, and payment space as part of our portfolio. We also run accelerators to build up capacity of startups in Kazakhstan in Central Asia and Malaysia and Vietnam in Southeast Asia. So we have accelerated about 50 startups in the last 6 months. And I'm very happy to join this panel to discuss frontier tech and really learn from all the other speakers who have gone before me and the session. And we are very glad to see one of our startups who we accelerated this year, Hyperlab, to be here as well. And it's amazing showcase of their technology. So if we talk about the most prominent frontier technology we have witnessed, maybe I could bring one from our portfolio companies in Fund 1. So because there's no universally agreed definition of frontier technology, even as of now, right? So Quest understands frontier technologies as defined by different technology advances in that they have the potential to disrupt the status quo, alter the way people live, work, and rearrange value pools, and lead to entirely new products and services. So it includes digital technologies such as AI, IoT, big data analytics, and modeling simulations. The company that I want to highlight would be Evertix, which Quest has invested in much earlier, even before drones became a focus. So Evertix pioneered the use of drones in commercial applications. They offer technologies specialized in marine and land area photography and video, so mapping and color and thermal inspections as well. The company provides survey quality scanning with in-house built drones and develops their own web platform, XMaps, that manages unmanned aerial vehicles and flight logs, analyzes flight trends, and provides sharing features. So they work with prominent companies to deploy this technology, such as Shell, ST Marine, and East Marine. So this would be one of the prominent frontier technology project that I've witnessed. So I thought to share it with you. And if we zoom in on Singapore in 2017, the Minister of Communications and Information then outlined 4 frontier technologies as focus areas for the development of Singapore's digital economy, mainly AI and data science, that's number 1, cybersecurity, that's 2, immersive media, which is AR, VR, that's 3, and the 4th would be IoT and 5G. So I think that's pretty similar in Vietnam as well. So I think like collaboratively, we could be developing the entire ecosystem for frontier technologies. Yeah. In terms of our viewpoints on the current actions towards potential of frontier technologies, Quest is very interested in this space, and we are looking especially to those with commercial applications, be it payment systems, logistic, applied AI, and AR, VR. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the sharing. And now let's go to, I think that I want to have one further question for Quest Ventures, because as you have shared, like you are quite like active. And actually Quest Venture is the top 10 most active investor in Southeast Asia, and specifically for early stage startups. So what do you see in Vietnam's potential? And I think recently your founder also stated that like West Venture wanted to invest like 10 million US dollars in Vietnam at least for the next 3 years.
Yes, maybe I will talk about that after maybe Trang introduce herself. Is
Okay.
that better? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
So
I'll do a quick version since everybody has shared a lot, and I think there's a lot of overlap in our views. So first of all, thanks for having me here today. Super excited to be joining Techfest. For me, it's the first time, and super encouraged to see and actually a lot of learnings for myself to see how deep tech has penetrated Vietnam ecosystem. So just a quick kind of response to Kimiko's earlier question. I think personally, I'm very intrigued by innovation in healthcare and data science in general. And there I'll just give two examples of what I think could be super exciting in the near term. One is a company that we recently invested called Data Robot. So they're actually quite a mature, I mean, in a relative scale of startup, they are relatively sort of more late stage. What they do is they provide a platform that essentially automates end-to-end process of developing and deploying predictive data science and machine learning models, all the way from preparation of the data for the clients, which is corporate or SME, to featuring engineering, model training, validation, and the actual machine learning operations. And through that, basically, they enable the data scientists or even non-technical business analysts to be able to find, conceptualize, and deploy best possible models. So basically, think of them as a business that democratize the entire data science practice, right? So that's, I think, is super powerful. And the second example in the space of healthcare will be a company that I think the Tuấn from SG Innovate highlighted earlier, Mido.ai. So there again, a company that is democratizing a very complex and niche medical operation, ultrasound, and make it accessible to everyone through mobile devices or just medical devices, IoT. And in terms of our view on frontier technologies, very simply put, I think the potential is enormous because these are technologies that can transform industries, that can transcend across industries and geographies. And if I were to put it, to simply put it, I think our view is the last 2 decades have been very much about the rise of consumer internet. And the next 2 decades will be about digital transformation of traditional industries through technologies such as frontier industries. And the industries that we can potentially can transform through frontier industries of frontier technologies will be healthcare, banking, insurance, everything, right? Industrials, retail. So that would be kind of a quick response to your question, Kimiko.
Yes, thank you so much for the sharing. And I think that both of the investors coming from abroad, they can see the potential of Vietnam. So may I come back to Mr. Tam? So you lead the digital initiative at OCB Bank. So if you could give us some kind of landscape in terms of the digital transformation in the banking industry, and what kind of potential technology that you think will be accelerated in the next 6 months or 12 months, given like amid the COVID?
Thanks for the question, Kimiko. So, like any other industry, banking is undergoing rapid digital transformation, not only in the front end customer-facing journeys, but also on the back end. So, I think now that all banks are realizing that it is very competitive landscape where not only competitive inside Vietnam, but also coming from outside Vietnam, as Mr. David said, it's not only now a local game, it's a global game where banking in Vietnam is not only served and dominated by local players, but also very, very easily provided services by fintech players that can easily have offices somewhere in India, Singapore, but providing local services to Vietnamese. So that as a local player, we understand and we see the pressure. So that's why we currently undergoing a lot of different projects. Basically, we cannot accelerate in a way that we get impatient, but we really have to test it out, implement one by one, break into pieces where we will solve problems by problem. So currently we are implementing a lot of different POCs. What we call that OCB is very active in the fintech space where we collaborate with a lot of fintechs. So whatever technologies that other banks in the world are using, we're trying to learn, and then we invite them to work with us on how to test it out for Vietnam. So I think that's the best way. So so far it's going okay. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I think that we seal another deal for Quest Ventures and B Capital, because I think fintech is also like a very strong portfolio that Singaporean and Southeast Asian you can do the POC with OCB Bank. So coming next to Dr. Duy Đăng Phạm. So you come from the education perspective and you have been like leading the initiative at the computer science school. So how is it going over there with the we see a lot of potential and the openings for frontier technology related jobs. So how is like the future of work, and what do you think the capacity of Vietnam in the next 5 and 10 years?
Thanks, Kimiko, for the question. Very interesting. So I think that in terms of jobs, the future of work in Vietnam and globally, definitely when with the current advancement in terms of big data, analytics, and AI, then definitely there'll be more new jobs, jobs that we have never seen before. So for example, at the moment, I'm discussing with the team in Melbourne about some potential new jobs in the future, for example, like consultant for AI ethics. So we are talking about ethics in implementing AI, and we need consultants for that. We also talk about digital customer journey mapper. So those who will map the customer journey of those who use AI products, for example. So new jobs will be there. Some old jobs may be lost and replaced by automation. Some current jobs may be changed because when new technologies they are rolled out, then in the first stage we'll need people to develop and design the technologies, and in the second stage we'll need people to implement and ultimately use them. So some of the jobs, some of the traditional jobs at the moment, they'll need to learn how to use data, how to use AI system effectively. And I think that I can envision in the future, all of the jobs, they will be data related or data intensive. So the new generations of workers, they need to have some sort of data literacy or data skills. And back to Mr. David remarked previously about the security of data. So at the moment, I think that I share the opinion with Mr. David that security awareness in Vietnam is still very low. But in the future, all of our jobs, they require to know how to handle data, how to protect data, how to share data effectively. So that is for the future of work. And
Thank you so much for sharing. So of course, like it will be incorporated in the curriculum as RMIT is like really spearheading the education for the future. So coming back to Michelle, can you please share briefly more about the initiative that you're leading Vietnam Global Innovation, and also like your upcoming activities in Vietnam market?
Sure, thank you, Kimiko. So if we talk about the Vietnam Global Innovation, it is a leading program to accelerate access to Southeast Asia's hottest economy, which is Vietnam, right? I think we all see great potential in Vietnam, and we are a partner of the Global Innovation Alliance for Vietnam by Enterprise Singapore and Singapore Economic Development Board. So we conduct this acceleration program to position startups for success in Vietnam through mentorship, business matching, and support in navigating its business landscape. So Kimiko has always been very supportive as well to help startups land in Vietnam and grow. So each year we bring around 20 companies into Vietnam to learn about its market, startup ecosystem, and put Vietnam on their expansion roadmap. So in terms of that, it's not just the Singapore companies under this program. It's also our different portfolio companies and startup networks in Central Asia and other parts of Southeast Asia. Despite COVID-19, we have supported 12 companies in their journey in exploring and expanding into Vietnam. And some of the startups have secured partnership pilots and are looking to set up their office in Vietnam. So I think Hyperlab founder would be one of them. So in terms of like what we are going to continue to do in Vietnam is that we are actively looking for deal flow. So we believe in the potential of Vietnam. It's one of the most dynamic emerging economies in Southeast Asia. I think like previously people refer to Vietnam as frontier economies, right? But I think now they have moved past talking about Vietnam being frontier economy, but more towards frontier technologies and how it's going to be applied. So like we can see the growth growing like tremendously, and a lot of interest from investors like ourselves and also B Capital. So I think in terms of that, we do see great growth in this region through Vietnam. So Nikkei even mentioned that Vietnam could emerge as the sole economic winner in Southeast Asia, as we see the GDP expanding by 2.6% in the third quarter, and it's the second straight quarter of growth amidst like the coronavirus pandemic. Exports also grew 9.9% year on year in October to $26.7 billion US. So we believe that all in all, the forces that's happening, the forces, macroeconomic forces, is actually causing Vietnam to emerge stronger and also to become a clear winner in this region as well. So in terms of the potential of applications of frontier technologies, we could probably look at drones applications to the agri-tech, so like analyzing data from sensors, but not just collection of data, but the monitoring, collecting, overlaying of data to make sense of it would be a key focus. We do see quite a number of startups focusing on that in this region. So like that is something that we can look at for Vietnam as well. So like to generate rich insights from this surveillance and also allow farmers and owners to make more evidence-based decisions. Another thing that we might look to is the application of AR and VR on e-commerce and social commerce right now. So I think that's going to be something really huge. According to a study, average mobile conversion without AR is about 3.5%. With AR, it increases to 11%. So I think it could become a key driver to enable e-commerce and S-commerce in Vietnam and also the region. Yeah.
Thank you for your sharing. Definitely, e-commerce and social commerce selling is increasing in Vietnam. So come to Trang from B Capital. You invest in B2B startups mostly, and usually at the growth stage, which is like usually Series B and C. And you have like some major verticals like enterprise technology, fintech and insurtech, and industrial. So which particular industry that you are looking for the potential in Vietnam? And also like, what do you see the potential? Because I think Vietnam, we are, the ecosystem in general is still at the very early stage. So what exactly are you looking for in the Vietnam market? And what initiative you are going to do to be more active in Vietnam for the next few years?
Sure. So to take a step back, we are a global venture capital firm, and our investments shredded across the US and Asia, namely India and Southeast Asia. And within Southeast Asia, Vietnam is a key market for us, for all the reasons I can explain, but probably also a repetition of what Michelle mentioned earlier. It is true that the VC and startup ecosystem in Vietnam is still maturing, and especially in the context of B2B, most of the startups are still sort of maybe early for us. When we look at Series B, C, typically we need the startup to cross over the commercialization phase, say for in the context of enterprise SaaS solution, for example, which is a big focus for us. The company ideally would be crossing at least 1 million ARR mark, which I believe Vietnam would be able to see more and more such companies coming out, just given the talent of the pool of engineering talent, where Vietnam is ranked, I think, top 10 countries in the world with the most number of graduate in engineering. And I think in terms of sort of technology adoption in Vietnam right now in B2B, not specific to a certain industry, but I do believe that adoption of productivity software across all industries and businesses will be on the rise. These are software that could, leverage AI or ML or even before AI, right? But simply bring about better user experience, functionalities, help business improve productivity, improve cost savings, and unlock new sales potential. So there are plenty of sort of such software that could potentially disrupt just the current sort of value chain across sales, marketing, HR, legal, finance, accounting, customer success, and whatnot. So the other aspect is digitalization of supply chain through adoption of robotics software. Basically, their solutions to connect nodes across the supply chain and improve the visibility of the supply chain, given Vietnam being a manufacturing hub. And over time, I also think increasingly companies and organizations would move towards modern data infrastructure and allow API integration, just as what Mr. Thum from OCB was mentioning. Thereby, you can benefit from a wider ecosystem with other service partners and enrich the customer experience altogether.
Thank you for your sharing. And like we can open the floor for the audience if you can have like 1, 2, 3 questions right now to our panelists. David, you want to make a question?
So in the US, I go to the bank. It takes me 5 minutes to get the money. In the United States, it's 30 minutes. I go from one spot to the next spot, to the next spot, to the next spot. So how can we make that standard?
David was addressing the question to me then, right? As the loan representative of the banks, yeah. So I understand. I think so banks are still undergoing a lot of changes, especially it's a conflict between being a traditional model that has been traditional for so long, and that is built in the culture, where a lot of staff, if banks still have lots of staff at the branches, and because they've been in the bank traditional flow, the mindset for so long, so it will take time, even though that we have the new technology that a lot of banks actually in Vietnam actually are digitizing the branch experience. So basically, at some banks, and OCB is trying to do the same, namely Viettin and Admin Bank. Actually, they are implementing phase authentication at the branch, where allowing customer don't have to bring an ID anymore. They can walk into the branch and show their face, and they can get authenticated by the teller, and then get the transaction conducted. So that those things, and even TB with the you traveling at the airport today, you see like KYC, face ID, passport at the live banks, right? And also at the ATM. So those technologies are so readily available, but which banks will implement faster and educate? I have to say that even though digital technologies are readily available, but the people, the staff, the management, the operations staff have to buy in, and then you have to work with the technology in order to make the experience completely pleasant and digitized, right? Because sometimes technology only can do its part, and if the human don't want to collaborate, then it's not going to work. So what I'm saying is that technology is one, human and buy-in as a company going top down, and then with top down support has to happen if you cannot just go from bottom up anymore. So I think all that will make your experience better. But I'm sure if you go to banks today, it will not be 30 minutes. I'm sure that withdrawal will take like less than 5 minutes today. I'm not sure which banks you are banking, but if you go to OCB, I will make sure that it will take 1 minute.
Okay, so like the conclusion is that you have been going to the wrong bank. Okay, so you should open an OCB. And I think that Mr. Share a very good viewpoint in terms of like the behavior changing. And of course, like the standard that Mr. David is so used to. Now, like that kind of standard, like the US standard and also like the Singaporean standard, this is like a flat word. And I think that Vietnam is catching up really quickly. And we have seen a lot of solutions to improve like the customer experience. I'm sorry that we are quite running out of time, but I do hope that the sharing from the panelists today, as well as we will share with you like their contact information and the introduction of their company, because like the major purpose of this kind of Frontier Technology Summit, I'm really hoping that this is the first year that we have the Frontier Tech Summit officially in Techfest, and it's going to be every year, and it's going to be more and more the presentation from Vietnam, from the Vietnam solution, and our global partner can come and then see us. So just a quick reminder that tomorrow morning we will have like the final challenge for the startup, the competition in TechFest. So for Michelle and Trang Chen, we will definitely tune you in for the top 10 presentation. And for everyone in here, you can get like the invitation from the organizer. So with that, I'm really appreciate your joining us today. And please make sure that you leave the email in the registration deck. And also when you check out, you can receive the discount code for the VinFast e-scooter that I just mentioned. It's a really, really good coupon that you can give to anyone. So please make sure you get it. So thank you very much. And do you want a group photo session? Michelle and Chang Chen, please stay there so that we can, include you in the picture. Okay. So everyone, let's come for the group photo.
Anh Tiến lên giúp em. Anh Tiến lên giúp em.